Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Citizens of Lorcana podcast, a podcast where we invite you to be a part of their world. We're your host, Jared and James. Today we're talking about our Lorcana wish list. So without further ado, let's jump into the episode. Hey everyone, welcome to another week. Last episode, we were joined by the always amazing #1 Emperor Cusco fan, Y Breezy, to talk about set 3. Today, with the holidays being right around the corner, James and I are sharing our Christmas wish list for Lorcana going into 2024. So, James, today's December 20th, and I've got the holiday spirit today. We've got the house decorated. This is the first year we actually put like Christmas lights on the outside of the house. My 12-year-old daughter has been asking to do this for years. So finally, I was like, all right, let's do it. And
Yeah, you gotta give the kid some lights and some decorations.
it's true. Well, I mean, we decorate on the inside a lot, but she even did a lot of the stuff on the outside. Like she got up on the ladder, she was hammering the thumbtacks in, so it was a lot of fun. The presents are wrapped, like we're just in the mood. So we're not necessarily giving predictions for what we are expecting to see next year, but rather what we would hope and like to see in Lorcana for the upcoming year. And this could be anything from like what we personally wish to see for ourselves to like what we hope to see in the community, stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm totally gonna be like all about me. It's Christmas. I want presents.
That's true. I think
No,
I
actually,
went
not
more
all of them.
global with my wishes than you did.
Possibly. I mean, mine are things that I'm sure other people will want and benefit from as well in some cases.
Sure.
So I think it'll be fun. So we've made these lists. We're going to talk about them as we go through them. We're going to just basically go back and forth, and then we will move on to the usual stuff at the end with Disney trivia. But we also have an announcement about our next episode. Have we announced all of the details about that yet?
No, just a little teaser at the end of last episode.
So let's tease some more at the end of this episode.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So are you gonna get started or am I? I'm gonna go first, right?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. My first wish is something I might have said before, but I want the Lumineers Troves to be on shelves everywhere like Pokemon ETBs are, where you can find the last 5 sets of Pokemon cards on the shelf at Target, and you can go pick up one of them whenever you want to be able to open up some packs, have some storage, get a booklet, whatever comes in those things, just like stuff comes in the Trove. I want to be able to find those on the shelf so that any random Thursday evening on the way home from work, if I feel like buying some Lorcana cards and I want to have like another Trove, get 8 packs, I want to be able to just pick those up just like you can Pokemon cards.
I have to say, I'm not really into Pokemon, but when the 151 set released, I did buy an ETB, and it's sitting right here on my desk. And you're right, like it's just the perfect size, shape, container, holds cards, holds accessories, and the troves are that way too. But I mean, I got my set 1 trove at Gen Con, and then luckily my set 2 trove I just picked up on Monday. I got a tip from one of my fellow Vegas Lorcana Illumineers, and I was able to place an order for a set 2 one here. But yeah, otherwise I haven't seen them, and I am in love with that idea.
Yeah, and
But
I wanted to not like harp on the whole like availability issue. I just wanted it for the fun of getting that little box with 8 packs in it and that aspect of it where you can just go see it on the shelf and be like, I want to get that this week.
I love it. I love it. So, but this kind of reminds me of a discussion that's been taking place on Twitter where people say, if you see product sitting on shelves, it's not a good sign for the health of the community. But as you say, I see product for Pokemon from prior sets, for Magic from prior sets. Like this whole discussion about product sitting on shelves for more than 2 weeks, it's kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, it needs to sit there so that it's always there for people to buy when they are randomly asked for it for holidays or birthdays, or someone just gets the, oh, you know what? I remember Pokemon. Let me go get that.
That's
Or
me.
hey, you know what? There's a Disney game. Let me try that out. So
And the Trove is like the best. It's such a easy like intro to the game
yeah,
because you get 8 packs, you get all the accessories, crappy accessories. Those could be improved on. Like, okay, I'm adding a mini wish tier. I'm adding a sub wish tier wish, and I don't know if this is one of your future wishes, but I wish they upgrade the quality of their accessories.
well, now in the ETB, there's not a whole lot of quality stuff in there, but they do include dice, which is cool.
Well, and their like tokens and stuff are at least plastic.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not like top quality, but it definitely is a little bit more durable than the cardboard that they put in the Trove for sure.
That's a great wish. I love that one. here's here's my number one wish. You're making me rethink these here. My number one wish is for organized play, uh, both the announcement and the execution of it to be good. One thing that Ravensburger has done over and over again since the game launched is underestimate the appetite for this game. And I just want organized play to go off with it without a hitch. Like, I just want this one thing to come out and be like, that was amazing. Not like, that was amazing, but you know what I mean? And
Yes, for sure.
and not just like the competitive one, but I mean, I also really want I don't want the casual fan event that they mentioned to be an afterthought. Like, I just want it all to be good.
Yes, for sure. And that actually does a little bit tie into one of mine. But it's interesting because you mentioned about how they've underestimated demand like every step of the way. I actually was having dinner with Sean of Parks and Cons last night, and completely unrelated, he mentioned that the only people at Disney run or Disney events where there's like Disney exclusives or some Disney event going on, it's like the only people who were ever surprised about how popular something is are the people who work at Disney. They just like walk around going like, how why are there massive lines? What's going on? People want to buy this? It's like everyone working for Disney, and I think by extension the disease has transferred to Ravensburger. They just don't get how popular things are, like overall. They see. I mean, they see the numbers, they see the sales, but it's just like they don't quite get the level of fanaticism that can get attached to these things. And obviously, yes, it's fanatics because we're fans. But it's just, do make sure that you understand that there is going to be way more demand than you can ever handle, but also remember that there's going to be way more demand that you ever think as well.
Well, number one, it's interesting that you say that because I just listened to the recent Live Laugh Lorcana podcast. I think it was Katie who was on a Disney cruise, and she said same thing. Like, they would bust out their Lorcana cards, and not a lot of people were like playing Lorcana, but she said the Disney employees were all like, "What is this?" But number two, like, if they announced organized play and they're like, "Oh, we have spots for 32 people," okay, or even if it's just 128, I feel like that would not even be enough. I feel like the first real organized play event, it could easily get to 512. Like, I want this to be accessible for everybody who wants to have the ability to go play. Like, yeah, maybe future down the line, it's invite only. But for the first one, it would be awesome if they opened up the floodgates for as many people as possible.
Yeah, definitely. I think. I mean, we know that all the other games, and all the other games have been going for much longer, but all those other games can get hundreds and thousands of people to the major events, and yeah, anything less than 300 or 400 is, I think, going to be way too small.
Yep.
Way too
Yep.
small. So yes, that's a good one. Definitely we need organized play to be big and to be run well.
And clearly, like, I'm no logistics expert. I cannot imagine what goes into that. But yeah, my wish is for organized play to just be a celebration of Lorcana and not be like, well, Gen Con was great, but day one sucked. I just
Right.
want people to feel like this was amazing. Anyway, okay, carry on. Number two.
Okay. My number two wish is for there to be a Goofy fishing card.
Like from a Goofy movie?
It doesn't. Goofy has done lots of fishing, how to fish, whatever. Fishing's a thing for Goofy, so there needs to be a Goofy fishing card.
I mean, the perfect pose has to be an action card. Like, not like you're talking about Goofy fishing, like the perfect pose. You know what
Yeah,
I'm talking about? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It doesn't matter which, if there's a character that's like Goofy Fisherman, or there's an action for Goofy throwing the perfect, what is it
The
called?
perfect cast.
The perfect
That's
cast.
what it is.
That's what it has to be. That's what the action has to be called. But
Okay,
something definitely that.
so why Goofy fishing? That's very specific,
It's
oddly
just
specific.
it's very iconic. It's just a thing with Goofy, and I love Goofy, so I want that Goofy.
Okay. Now, do you want this Goofy to be like overpowered?
Oh
Do you
no,
have like
I
do you
don't
have like
care.
a potential ability that you would like this Goofy to have?
No, I just want a Goofy fishing card. I trust Ravensburger to make a good card or to have awesome art, even if it's on like Honey Wizard, even if it's not on a great card, it's going to be awesome art. So just make one.
All right. That's a good wish. My second wish is James, you're making me feel bad. I do have a couple of wishes like what yours is, but my number two wish for Lorcana in 2024 is better communication from Ravensburger. And I can't help but sit here feeling a little jealous looking at games like Star Wars Unlimited and be a little jealous of how much access the community has to the game developers and designers and just how involved. And I know the skeptic out there is going to say, well, Fantasy Flight Games is desperate to get anybody and everybody to buy their games. They have to repair their goodwill. But still, like, I see the level of interaction that they have with their community. And I'd be like, oh, that'd be so nice. Like, they have the Discord now. I'm grateful for that. They're not super active on the Discord from what I've seen, but at least they have it now. But I mean, how cool would it be to have Ryan Miller or Steve Warner or Rochelle sitting here on our podcast or on another podcast and just talking about the game?
Yeah, that would be very cool. I feel like it's going to be difficult to ever get that because of the Disney part of it, where they are so locked down in all of the contracts and all those kinds of things. I will say that because it's the holidays, I will feel the same, as in they are not communicating well, if by the end of January we don't have a lot of communication and different things coming out of the Ravensburger team. Because I feel like they said that they're going to be announcing events and things for later in the year in January, and it'll be a few weeks from Into the Inklands, and there's just no reason for them to not step up and increase what they're doing in some manner starting with next year, and just like hitting the road running kind of thing, and just like ramp up.
That's exactly where my head canon is too. I think right around the same time they're going to make the announcement. They're going to release comprehensive rules, or at least talk about the release of comprehensive rules. And they will also get this ambassador program up and running. Like, that's my head canon right now, is that all those things are probably going to happen around the same time. And then the full like PR machine apparatus of Ravensburger will be in full force.
Yeah.
And I'm not like, we've speculated about this over the past year about what might be holding that back. But for whatever reason, in my head, it's like set 3 is a time where the machine is ready to go.
Right. Yeah. And with the team in place and having to switch gears with Rochelle coming on halfway through the year, essentially right before, everything was starting and kicking off.
Right.
She had to both manage the release, on the fly essentially, and get ready for the Floodborne stuff. So this is kind of like the time where now it feels like she's set. She's got her plan in, and all the gears are going to start locking in and running smoothly, hopefully to go, and kick off 2024, the first full year of Lorcana in that manner.
Wait, I missed this. What's the context behind she said she had her plan in?
I just saw her mention on different times in Discord where she is kind of like the person who is formulating the marketing plan and how things are getting released and things like that. So, the card reveals and all that are things that she has her hands in a lot of different things.
Oh, yeah.
And so, in the beginning, when she was first hired, she couldn't put her stamp on it, and she just kind of had to manage what was already in process. But now I feel like she's running things from the beginning and able to push things out as the head person in that area. Everything is flowing from her now, instead of kind of just hodgepodge. Whatever was happening is happening, and other things may change a little bit, and whatever they can push through at this point because something happened. I feel like everything's now going to be like streamlined.
Yep, I think you're right. I hope you're right.
All right, so time for my third one.
Yep.
Okay, and this is one I think we've actually mentioned this multiple times, but I again am getting very specific. I want a Lorcana comic.
I would love that.
I mean, I would love it to be from Marvel, and because obviously they're a Disney-owned company, so it would make sense. But it doesn't matter; it can come out from IDW or any of those other Dynamite, any of those other publishers who want to, get the license for it. And I would love to find some of the artists that they've hired to do covers, all new covers. And how comics are these days. There's variant covers galore.
Yeah.
They can do card covers where they take a card and they use it as a cover. They can get new art. They can do all kinds of variants. And just like they're doing for different Disney properties with comics in the parks, I think that a Lorcana comic would be really awesome.
Let me ask you a question on this. In this like imaginary comic book, would you like to see the Lumineers like Martin and whatever the girl's name is, or would you rather just see like the Glimmers?
Oh, I think it should be a story with the Lumineers because they are our stand-ins. They're the person that we would be in the story. So that's the in, you have to have an in to a story. So that would be like they would be standing in for us as the Lumineers reading the story. We would be following their adventures as if they were our adventures, kind of a thing.
As long as if it's not Martin.
Poor Martin.
What do you expect when you unleash the flood by jamming some tunes?
Now, honestly,
evil book.
Whoever was behind that, that they were going to get someone to do it at some point. It was gonna happen. It's just Martin was the unlucky one.
Well, and I think it's just his whole demeanor with like the red hair. It's just like, you knew if somebody's gonna do it, it was Martin. I don't know. Yeah, I like that. And not just comics. I would love to see like novels, and I know it's a wish list here, but even a syndicated cartoon or something.
Yeah.
I think
the reason I pick comic is because it's something that can realistically be done and out sometime next year.
Okay,
Whereas
that's true.
An animated show is going to take 2 or 3 years to get out.
If they start, like if they started right now, we wouldn't see it until 2025 at the earliest.
That's true. Okay, my number 3 wish. I'm going with a character here, and this is going to come as a surprise to no one. But my wish is for Oswald, the lucky rabbit. And the card ability would have some element of luck to it because he's the lucky rabbit. So my first thought that I was thinking about was in other card games, sometimes there will be a card that says, when you play this card, name a card type. So it could be action, song, a character, and draw the top card. If the top card is, matches what you said, draw it to your hand. Otherwise, put it on the bottom of the pile. I think, and maybe that's a silly ability, but I think where he's Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, if you had something that had some element of luck to it, no dice roll. I think that'd be really fun.
That'll work. I mean, Mulan kind of has that ability, and Mufasa has a similar version of that ability with the look at the top card. If it's this, play it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, no, having it be something, since as you mentioned, he's the lucky rabbit. Yeah, having it be something where you can almost always get that kind of a card, right? Do some kind of ability where you're like guaranteed to get some benefit from it because he's the lucky rabbit.
Yeah. Or I guess it could be like another version of develop your brain where you draw the top few cards and take one into your hand.
Right.
I don't know, and I don't care. Like Oswald doesn't even have to be a super rare or legendary. I just want him to be a cool card. I just want Oswald. Okay. And if we're going really crazy here, I want to reveal Oswald.
Well, of course.
I
reveal Oswald.
I've been petitioning for this for a long time, and I know there's a lot of people out there petitioning for card reveals. I don't expect anything, but this is my wish list here, so there we go.
Right, there you go. Sub wish to wish number 3 is have an Oswald card and then
That's
reveal
right.
it.
Man, that'd be like peak. I mean, if that happened, I would
just like
drop mic and probably walk off into the sunset.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Close the doors. Podcast over. Everything's done.
Okay, let's hope they don't call my bluff on that.
All right. We ready for number 4?
Number 4, go ahead.
This one is again something that will benefit everybody. I want a line of Lorcana apparel. I want shirts and hoodies and hats. Let's make it all. We see all of the Ravensburger employees with stuff, and you see it, and you're like, I want that, and I can't get it. So make it.
Yeah, it really does seem like a no-brainer. And for these official events that they have, especially the fan one, it seems like that would be a missed opportunity if they didn't have a merch store.
Yeah, they need to do that. There needs to be a merch store.
But honestly,
a lot of stuff.
Honestly, it would be like a rerun of Gen Con probably, where there'd be a run on the merch and like the first 50 people would get something. I don't know. That's another thing where like, how do you gauge demand for that? We got to establish a baseline first.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that they could do is they could make, and this would be something that would go along with making the fan events feel special each time you go, where they would do like Star Wars Celebration every time they run one, they do key art that is on everything, and they make a bunch of different products that feature that key art for every different convention. So every convention has different t-shirts and different mugs and different puzzles and different everything. So they could make an exclusive shirt or shirts or designs or whatever. Same thing for D23 Expo. There's always exclusives that have that year's stuff on the shirts or other apparel. And they could do that for the Lorcana events that they run, the fan events. Done deal. Get it done.
I love it. And then, like you said, we see them wearing those hats. We see them wearing the shirts. They could just sell those
right
around from their store or whatever. I would totally pick something up. All right. My number 4 is for a new product type. And I'm delving into the realm of magic here when I say that I would love for a secret layer type product to come into Lorcana. I know that that's something that would probably be divisive in the community because a secret layer is something from Magic. It offers alternate version of like alternate art versions of different cards, but it's like a print on demand. So they're like, we have the set, you have like 2 weeks to order it if you want, and after that, we're not printing anymore. And I just think that that would be really cool to have alternate art. Like if I could get, I don't know, name random artist, whose art I really like whoever did Honey Wizard, John Lauren, right? If they did like a secret layer of John Lauren with different cards, I would buy it. I'd probably buy it.
Where he basically just does art for existing cards and
Exactly.
maybe like 5 or 10 different cards that are already in existence, and he just does new art for each one and makes it a secret lair for John Lauren.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. I like that idea. The other thing that they've done is like they take all of their other properties, or in the case of the one that was just announced a month ago or so, was they're doing Marvel, and they're adding that as a line. I don't remember if it was secret lairs or just like whatever new thing like the Lord of the Rings or whatnot. It's an actual like magic set.
Yeah, I think it's an actual expansion.
But things like that where they've done like Transformers and all this kind of stuff where it doesn't really fit in with magic. It's not like high fantasy. It's Transformers. It's science fiction. That kind of stuff. I don't know if it fits into Lorcana. I mean, because I don't think it fits into Magic. I don't think it really does. But having it be different artists or different special treatments or something, I think would work for sure.
Well, the thing that you're thinking about, it's called Universes Beyond,
Right? Yeah.
In Magic, where they do take other IPs and integrate them into the game. And yeah, I agree. That is not something that I want to see in Lorcana. Who knows? Maybe 30 years down the road, I do want to see My Little Ponies in Lorcana. Just teasing. I don't know. I just thought of that because there's a secret layer with My Little Ponies coming out. Anyway, but I mean, secret layers could even be the way that you get like these Halloween themed sets. Like you could have a Halloween secret layer where you have the Fab Five dressed up as different characters. Because in my heart of hearts, as much as I want it, I don't think Lorcana's ever gonna sit there and do like a set that has a subset within it of Halloween cards.
We just don't know. They might, but this would be the way for sure to get it done, especially since it's print on demand.
I guess you could say Floodborne cards are like Halloween cards because they're dressed up differently, right?
Kind of, I guess, but that's more cosplay than Halloween. Come on.
That's true. Anyway, that's my fourth wish.
All right. So for my final wish, and this one is the one that kind of plays back to your first one, is my wish is that I get to play in an official Lorcana tournament. The ones that they announced, I mean, a convention one is fun, but I want to go to like one that Ravensburger runs, their own separate events, like all of the the regionals or whatever they call them in all the other games. I want to go to an official Lorcana tournament. I want to play in it, and I want to play well. I don't necessarily need to win because I don't think I could. I want to play to the best of my ability.
Yeah, I think that'd be a lot of fun. Like just being there for a whole day playing like high level Lorcana for 6-7 hours. That does sound like a lot of fun. And that's definitely when I do my 2024 like goals, resolutions, that's going to be one of them, going to official Lorcana organized play events for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, and who knows? If it's at Disneyland, you just have to drive right down the road from you.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, my fifth wish, because we all know, if you know me, like, you know that I love Sapphire. So I want a set where Sapphire Ramp meta is an actual thing. I know with set 2 we have kind of a sapphire meta with popsicle deck. But even like popsicle deck was mostly a thing for a week or two, but it's not built around the ramp package. There's ramp in it, but it's not the main focus of it. I really want to use ramp, and I want to draw big boys like Goofy on turn 5.
Yeah,
That's my wish.
that would be pretty awesome. Get out those 8, 9 cost characters on turns 5, 6. That'd be awesome. I can see that.
Yeah. But then they just die to removal.
But now there's locations coming, and maybe locations are going to offer some protection.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Okay. Should I read some of the listener comments for their Christmas wish for Lorcana 2024?
Sure.
All right. So on Twitter, I basically put out the same question. If you, besides product availability and product being sold at MSRP, if you had any wish for Lorcana in 2024, what would it be? So I'm going to share some of the highlights here. The first one comes from our good friend Brandon Brimley of Brimley Games. He says, "My main hope is for comprehensive rules." Makes sense. My sky's the limit hope is for more options for playmats. I would love to pick your favorite Lorcana art for Ravensburger to put on a playmat. For example, he would love to see the Musketeer Goofy on a playmat. And I don't know how difficult a print to demand playmat service would be, but that would be pretty sweet.
I don't think it's that difficult, because there's places like Inked Gaming where you can just send them an image and they print it for you and send it back.
Mm.
You know?
Okay.
And it's not even that expensive. I mean, they're maybe $5 or $10 more than the current playmats from Lorcana. So I mean, they're reasonably priced for having, you know, a generated image, you know, an image that you send in. So printed for you, print on demand.
Custom, yeah.
You know, it's not that bad.
No, that's really not. And I could see that being very popular. There's so much good art in this set. And I think kind of in that same vein, you've mentioned this before, puzzles.
Yeah.
Lorcana puzzles. Okay, our next comment comes from Jedi Geek Girl. And she lists a lot, but it's in no particular order. Jose from the Three Caballeros in Lorcana. Official Lorcana swag, which we talked about. Lorcana puzzles and books. She wishes for a Lorcana event in Minneapolis, close to where she lives. An official Disney Lorcana podcast. A new kind of product added to the set lineup. Each set. I'm not sure exactly what that means. The announcement that Lorcana will be doing rotation later. So when Lorcana has been out for a while, certain sets rotate out, so they're no longer tournament legal. What do you think about those wishes?
Those are good. Those are good wishes. I think
I
we
agree.
could get some Three Caballeros. I don't see why we wouldn't. In fact, there was a Three Caballeros mug when I was walking through World of Disney down at downtown Disney last night. So they're still getting product. So of course they're going to get something.
Yeah. This is from Stephen Duck Kemper, who said, sideboards. Makes sense. Allowing for note taking of cards in hand that have been revealed, more stacks / mill cards. And this is where we need, okay, before we get into that, what are your thoughts on those wishes?
Well, I mean, sideboards are a thing, I suppose. I don't know if Lorcana needs them. There's been arguments back and forth that I've seen where the sideboards are basically the stuff you put into your deck that's the tech stuff that can become ink if you don't need it. So it's like, do we need it? Do we need to up the complexity of the game to match the other games, or do we want to leave Lorcana where it is with the complexity built into what you ink, what you don't ink, you know, all of those kinds of things? I'm going to let the game designers, figure out whether they're going to have it or not, and then I'll just go with whatever they decide.
I will say I'm a pro team sideboard. I think adding more customization into the game is a good thing. And mainly because if in these early sets there's like such a rock paper scissor feel to it that if you just run into the wrong deck, you just don't have any chance of winning. But if you were able to sideboard something in to counter it, it gives you a chance. So my question for you, and this is where we probably need to bring back Lorcana Lexicon. Do you know what stacks is? STAX?
I've heard the term stacks for Magic, but I'm not sure if that's specifically it.
Yeah, it comes from Magic. Do you know what it is?
It's where you are playing, you're putting a bunch of cards into play that then are resolved in the order that they're stacked.
Oh, so you're thinking of a stack.
Like a stack.
This is STAX,
I don't know what
stacks.
that is.
So it comes from a card in Magic the Gathering that has the name stacks in it. But yes, I know what you're talking about. But this specifically is a type of card that when you play it, it applies like a global effect. So the example that somebody gave was like if you played a card and it was on your side of the board and it said every time the opposing player plays a character, they have to pay one more ink. That is an example of what a stacks is. So I mean, I don't know how I feel about that. Mill cards. I think Mill's a thing that's going to be here to stay. Mill's, I mean, if you've ever played Mill, it's kind of fun. But it's not like super viable. So maybe if there's a world where it could be more viable, I'm okay with that.
Now, when you say it's fun, you're talking about it as the person who is playing Mill, not the person who is being milled.
I mean, I like it either way. Like,
What?
I mean, I don't hate it. Like, are you kidding me? You have your hand and you have like one or two cards or five, whatever. And then they play a whole new world and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to get now? Like, it's just fun.
But we can get into the argument that that's not really mill. Mill is, from what I understand, that the true mill decks are taking cards off of your deck and going straight into banished.
Okay. Yes.
And you just never even get to touch them.
Okay. I like a whole new world type of mill. That type of mill, I wouldn't like. You're correct.
Yeah. So I think that's the kind of deck that the people that are like, I want mill, that's the kind of thing people are wanting, where they can just continually play cards that all they have to do is basically force you to deck out.
Yeah.
And that's not fun.
No, you're right. Okay. So now we got a lot of different properties and or character names. So I'll just read these and we can share our thoughts on them if you want. Illumineer's Quest at Lorcana Pod. Big Hero 6. Yeah, yep. I'd like to see Big Hero 6. I think Baymax would be awesome. John Vincent at Johnny Vincent 84. Gimme Encanto.
Yeah, we're gonna get Encanto
for sure
at some point.
The Happy Illumineer at Happy Illumineer says, I would love Megavolt and Powerline. My favorite electric based Disney characters. I'd also like more organized play. It's really fun groups outside of starter deck leagues. Yeah, I think once set 3 comes out and product becomes more widely available and you got locations, and specifically when like organized play is announced, I think we're going to see the player base grow again. Okay, Nerd Knight at Nerd Knight 111 says Kita as a legendary, or dare I say enchanted. They also said pull an enchanted, win more than 2 games in a single night at league. We're here for you. If you ever have any questions, Nerd Knight, we're here for you. Just ask us on Twitter if you need help with your deck. A song card based on a friend like me, and probably far-fetched, but be allowed to reveal a new card. Maybe one I'd use myself. This person says, Matt Lilly says, more modern Disney cartoon stuff like Gravity Falls and The Owl House, just to give a couple examples.
I feel like with Into the Inklands having already announced the Disney Afternoon 90s stuff, that basically is just letting us know that, yeah, guys, if it's being animated, guess what? We're gonna try pulling from it if we can get to it. It's at some point we're gonna get to almost every single thing that Disney has animated.
Does that mean we're gonna get Doug and Lorcana?
Maybe.
Can you imagine?
I mean, who knows, right? I mean, and then throwing that down. I mean, that means, to me, that means we're going to be able to get things that were in live action movies that have animation too, like Mary Poppins and Bedknobs and Broomsticks and things like that.
My first thought was Enchanted.
And Enchanted, yeah. All of those things, where there's animation in the movie, even though it's a live action movie, I feel like those all become much more viable now that they've announced that they're doing Disney Afternoon stuff.
Yeah. Probably a little more realistic here in the short term. Lorcana Talks, at Lorcana Talks, the #1 duck fan on Twitter said Darkwing Duck and Launchpad McQuack.
I'm like, I don't know. I think that we're going to get, there's a very good chance we're getting those into the Inklands.
I feel like Launchpad for sure, but I feel like Darkwing they'd make a bigger deal about. I don't know.
Well, I mean, they have all kinds of stuff that came out in Rise of the Floodborn that they didn't really announce. It just, hey, look at this awesome thing that's in here.
Yeah.
Like when the Wreck-It Ralph card showed up, it's like, what? Wreck-It Ralph?
And Steve loves Darkwing Duck so much, it's going to be an Enchanted. One other person, Kintaro, said, I know a certain friend who'd like to see the Rescue Rangers. I said, is that friend me? Because I'd love to see the Rescue Rangers. But they did not respond. So those are some of the Christmas wish list items from the community.
I feel like, I think something we've said before, as long as this game lasts for a few years, we're going to get so much stuff that are on these people's wish lists that, at a certain point, everyone's going to be like, you remember that like poster that was up on a wall in that one scene in Inside Out? Because now, we're at the point where Pixar's already in it. You remember that one poster? I want to get like whatever was on that poster in the game because they've done everything else.
Background character.
I mean, they've technically already done something like that by pulling in the easiest example is that mouse armor was seen like in the background of a couple of scenes or whatever in The Great Mouse Detective. So, I mean, they're pulling esoteric random stuff, and I think it's going to keep going like the entire life of the game.
I love it. Okay, so before we move on to the ending segments, since this is our last regular podcast of the year, I wanted to get your top highlight from 2023, Lorcana.
Wow.
I know, putting you on the spot here.
Putting me on the spot. Let's see. Going through that, and then there was all of that stuff, and then getting the game and playing. I'm pretty sure this is going to be one of your top ones too. I don't know if you'll pick it, but playing a game with Steve Warner in the middle of the night at Gamma.
Yeah, that was going to be my #1.
That's just something that, in mentioning Sean at Parks and Cons again, he's like, you can buy a ton of stuff, but you can't really buy experiences. You can obviously, but I mean, the experience, collecting experiences is sometimes more satisfying than collecting things, or even most of the time. Who knows? Depends on how you are. But collecting that experience is definitely the highlight of the year.
When I feel like even in that moment that we were there, we knew how special it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 1:00 in the morning. We were all dead tired. But here was Steve, designer of the game. He just wanted to play. And So we went into the hotel lobby and we played a multiplayer game. And you, me, Liam from Illumineers, and Steve. Like, it was one of the coolest experiences that I'll ever look back on and remember for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, since we had the same one, maybe I'll come up with a new one. Okay. Yep. The second one for me is the Gen Con meetup. It was just like it was just a flash of a moment of a thought for me where I was like, you know what? What if we actually organized a meetup at Gen Con for the Lorcana fans? And then I threw that idea out there and somebody's like, you should do it. And so I submitted an application. Didn't hear back until the week before. Like, we were making plans to meet at Lucas Oil Field Stadium because we're like, we just hadn't heard anything. And they're like, hey, you got approved for a room. So I put the attendance, I put it as a free event, like 100 people, and it sold out like that. Like, people snapped up tickets. But then to actually be there and we're all just sitting there talking Lorcana, trading cards, actually holding the game in our hands for the first time ever. Well, that's pretty special. But then when Steve, Ryan, and Rochelle walked in, and I wish you were there, James, we clapped. I mean, when they walked in and we saw them, the whole room just clapped. And, of course, Ryan always knows what to say for the occasion. But Steve and Rochelle were both kind of like just taken back. And Ryan was like, oh, you guys are so gracious. We're just so grateful to be a part of this. That's the kind of community involvement that I love. Like, they were there with us in that moment. And then they weren't just there and made an appearance. They stayed for a good hour and a half, and they tried to talk to every single person who was there. It was pretty special.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, moving on to ending segments.
Ending segments. So we already did a Lorcana lexicon. We don't need to worry about that. Was there any news? Well, there is some news. We have a couple new cards.
Yeah.
The first one is Mama Odie, 6 cost, uninkable, in Amethyst with 3 strength and 6 willpower, and the ability, listen to your mama now. Whenever this character quests, you may move up to 2 damage counters from chosen character to chosen opposing character. And she has 2 lore. So this is, if you happen to read The Gamer, and there's an article that came out a couple of days ago that Eric Schweitzer wrote that was basically titled Learning to Recognize Good Abilities on Bad Cards. That's what I said about this card. I was like, I can recognize that this is a good ability, but it's on a bad card because it's uninkable. It's a 6 cost, and you don't get the ability until she quests, which means it's probably going to get removed or something's going to happen. You may get to use it once if you're lucky. It's conditional because there has to be damage on your character in order to do it. So
okay, but this card was made to go with Teeth and Ambitions. How nasty is that card? If you have Mama Odie on board, play it, quest with her, and you just put 4 damage, and this damage goes around resistance as well.
Yes. No, it's awesome. No, it's an awesome card. Like I said, it's an awesome ability. It's just the usability of it. If there's gonna be a song or an action with this ability, that will get played before this card does.
For sure. Yeah.
And what's the other new card we got? We just got this week.
We have Windy Darling on Sapphire, my color, 3 cost, inkable. She has 3 strength, 1 willpower. So it's Windy Darling Authority on Peter Pan. She's a storyborn hero. She has ward, she has support, she has 2 lores, and she is super rare. And the art makes it look like she's underwater. Well, she is underwater. You can see the mermaid swimming in the background. Somebody's like, is that Ariel back there? But then we were all reminded there are mermaids in Neverland.
Right. Since this is storyborn.
Yeah.
Although she would be in Lorcana, not necessarily in Neverland. So who knows? It could be.
What do you
Who
think?
knows?
Good card, bad card?
Well, again, this is another card I had a discussion with on Twitter. It feels like a rich man's version of Phil to me. I mean, she
Yeah.
cost another one. She has 2 lore and she has ward, but it's like she has 1 willpower. I mean, you can use her basically once and she's gone. I feel like if she had evasive instead of ward, she'd probably be better. Or if she had resist instead of support, she might be better. But this is a very squishy card for super rare. And I'm just hopeful that there's like a Peter Pan or some other darling card that makes this card make sense to me, or a location.
Right. Yeah, like a Neverland or a Lost Boys hideout that, all characters in the Lost Boys hideout get +2 resist or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I understand it's a super rare, which everyone's like, I would feel bad pulling this as a super rare in the super rare slot, because it's not a card that you're going to use most likely. But we'll see. I mean, not every card can be awesome, I guess. And I was like, well, I pulled a whole lot of marshmallows out of the first chapter, and that's a super rare, and that thing just sits and never gets used. So it
That's
happens.
true. It's a beautiful card though. Like
Yeah.
I definitely want 4 of.
But it's in Sapphire. It's your color.
That's right.
All right. That was about it. Is there any other? There's really no other news right now because I mean it's the holidays. I'm sure the offices are pretty empty. They're all on vacation, enjoying time with their families, friends. So
The only thing that I saw right before we started recording is that they released the product images for Into the Inklands in English today. So
yeah, the higher res, detailed, bigger detailed pictures. I saw those too.
but also just being in English. So
Yeah.
we don't have to go to Google Translate.
Parlez-vous?
I wonder if we're going to see the Italian boxes since set 3 is going to be released in Italian.
Oh yeah. So that'd be 4 different languages, right? We're
Yep,
getting
yep.
this time. All right. That's another language to collect some cards in.
Okay.
I do finally have a French card.
Oh, nice.
I have to get a German card now. I got a Bell Strange but Special foil in
okay.
French.
Okay.
It was appropriate.
I'll allow it.
Okay, cool.
All right. Are you ready for some Disney Jeopardy?
I'm ready for Disney Jeopardy.
All right.
I mentioned this before we started recording. This is themed. You will probably get the theme within the first question or 2.
Okay.
And I will just warn you in advance, this is not just Walt Disney animated based.
You always do this to me, James.
But don't worry, I think it'll be okay.
All right.
Are you ready?
I guess.
Okay, for 100. This was the first Walt Disney animated film.
What is Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs?
That is correct.
Boom. Okay.
Right. For 200. This is the first Pixar movie.
What is Toy Story?
Correct.
Well done.
Yeah, lobbing you up some softballs.
Yes, you are.
You get the theme yet?
First of different franchises.
Okay. For 300. This was the first person to voice Mickey Mouse.
Who is Walt Disney?
That is correct.
All right. So ready for the 400?
I guess I'm not sure what the theme is besides first of.
It's firsts.
Okay. Yep. Okay. 400.
This was the first Lorcana revealed after the D23-7.
Who is Olaf?
No.
Hold on.
Hold on.
After the D23-7?
There was a card revealed before Olaf. Olaf was the second new card after
Oh,
that.
it was Dragon's Fire.
That's correct. Dragonfire.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you 0.7 points for that one.
Okay. Now we sound like the overexerted guys.
All right.
So this one
we're back to this one. For the 500, I'm giving you Walt Disney Animated Studios, so it's back to on point. This was the first Disney princess movie to be rated PG.
PG? Wow. And I'm guessing it's not one of the first few. I honestly have no idea, so I'm just gonna say
It's modern era.
okay. I was gonna go Cinderella, but that's not modern enough, I'm thinking. What is Beauty and the Beast?
No,
Little Mermaid.
nope. That's Renaissance era. It's after that, modern.
Aladdin.
Ew. No, it's
Pocahontas.
It's Tangled.
It's Tangled?
Tangled.
Really?
Not until Tangled was there a Disney princess movie rated PG.
No, I never would have guessed.
Yeah. There you
That's
go.
crazy.
You got 3.7.
Awesome.
All right. So did we want to tease what is coming up for our end of year podcast?
Yes,
Or do we want to announce it? Do we want to just announce it?
So next week, James and I started broadcasting together or podcasting together on December 31st of 2022. Well, that's when the first episode was released. And to celebrate, we're having a 1-year celebration, and we are inviting a who's list of all the people who have celebrated this journey with us, helping us along our way. And we're just going to do this big celebration of Lorcana, of our podcast. We're going to do giveaways, and it's going to be a live stream.
A live stream? We've only done like one 12-minute live stream.
We've done one.
And now we're going to do basically like a 2-hour multi-guest, like bringing people on, bringing them on, talking to them for a few minutes, next guest, rotating guests, giveaways, all in like 2 hours next week.
And so here's a behind the scenes thing. I'm like a stickler. I don't like episodes to be more than like an hour and 15 minutes. I'm sure that drives James crazy. But for me, I start to get antsy. But for our 1-year celebration, 2 hours.
And if I remember correctly, so we're doing this next Friday on when our episode would normally drop. We're doing it in the evening because, we have jobs. We have to do it after our jobs. So it's going to be next Friday, the 29th, which, if I actually remember correctly, was the date we recorded our first episode, was the 29th last year.
That could very well be.
I think it was.
Yeah, because we typically record 2 days before dropping.
Yeah. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have multiple guests. And of course, there are going to be way more people who were involved in our journey for the last year than we can actually have on in 2 hours.
Right.
So we fit in as many as we could. Everyone else, we love you. We thank you for being a part of our journey. And hopefully you will be able to tune in and contribute and chat with us. And you'll be with us for the next year.
And I'm trusting James here as the live casting expert that we can figure out a way to do like giveaways and stuff on the stream.
I think that as a teaser, I think we're going to do a couple of giveaways, at least a couple during the live stream, just for the live stream audience. But I think we have a few different things that we want to give away, both Lorcana and not Lorcana. What? He's showing me some things. I want to win that.
I'm going to give away a set 1 gift set on our stream.
I want that.
You cannot enter.
I can't.
Right.
Oh, man. Holding out. I have a couple, at least 2 Ravensburger puzzles that I will be adding to the giveaway.
Nice.
And I'm not sure what else we have, but I mean, we should do at least 2 on the live stream. So you need to be tuning in to win. And then I think that Jared, maybe we should do one on your Twitter, so that all of your followers can participate, like over the weekend, maybe.
So like do a giveaway for the gift set for people who retweet the announcement of our live stream I don't know. We'll figure it out.
But yeah, so
Stay
I think we
tuned.
should do one on Twitter, and I think we should do one, at least one or two during the live stream itself, just for the audience who tunes in.
Yep.
So you're going to have a better chance of winning during the live stream because obviously it's going to be on a Friday night and it's going to be a little late, so there won't be a massive audience. So you'll have a good chance.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
That's it.
Well, thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed what you heard, you can follow us on YouTube. You can subscribe on the podcasting platform of your choice. You can find me on the website formerly known as Twitter at Citizens of Lorcana. And James, where can they find you?
You can find me everywhere online at Dan Riegel, and you can check out geekshotphoto.com for links for myself and my wife for social media and photography stuff. And thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next week.